in the rolling hills of Yorkshire's West Riding, where stone walls criss-cross the green like ancient runes, lies the village of Denby Dale. By 1788, it was a modest place, its cobbled streets alive with the clatter of looms and the chatter of wool merchants. But Denby Dale was no ordinary village. It was a place of grand gestures, where the people marked history's turning points with pies so vast they could feed a multitude. These were not mere dishes, but monuments, baked in cauldron-like tins forged by the village smith, their contents a testament to the community's pride and resilience. The tradition began in the autumn of 1788, when King George III, struck by a mysterious malady that left him raving, miraculously recovered. The news reached Denby Dale on a crisp October morning, carried by a breathless rider from Huddersfield. The villagers, fiercely loyal to the crown, saw the king's restoration as a divine blessing. "We'll bake a pie to mark it," declared Amos Hinckliffe, the village's most prosperous farmer, whose booming voice could quiet a market square. "A pie so grand it'll feed every soul in the dale." The women of Denby Dale set to work, kneading dough in troughs borrowed from the brewery, while the men slaughtered a dozen sheep and plucked scores of pigeons. The pie tin, a monstrous iron basin crafted by blacksmith Ned Turner, was hauled to the village green by oxen. When the pie emerged from a makeshift oven built of bricks and peat, its golden crust gleamed under the harvest moon. Hundreds gathered, their cheers drowning out the church bells as Amos carved the first slice with a ceremonial cleaver. The feast lasted 3 days, and tales of the king's pie spread as far as York, cementing Denby Dale's reputation for audacious hospitality. The tradition took root, and the village baked again in 1815 to celebrate Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo. This pie, filled with venison, beef, and a brace of hares, was drawn through the streets on a cart festooned with Union Jacks. Soldiers returning from the war, their uniforms tattered but their spirits high, joined the feast, toasting Wellington's victory with mugs of ale. The Waterloo pie, it was said, was so hearty it fortified the village through a bitter winter, its leftovers sustaining families when snow buried the roads. But not every pie brought harmony. In 1846, Denby Dale's ambition outstripped its caution, and the result was chaos. The village had prospered, its textile mills humming, and the Hinckliffe family, now led by Amos's grandson, Jeremiah, decided to outdo all previous efforts. They commissioned a pie of staggering excess: 5 sheep, 20 rabbits, a suckling pig, and, most controversially, 63 small birds, from sparrows to larks, their tiny bones a hazard to the unwary. The pie tin, larger than any before, required 13 horses to pull it through the village, their hooves churning the mud of High Street. Jeremiah, a man of florid cheeks and boundless ego, saw the pie as his legacy. As the cart halted on the village green, he climbed onto a wooden platform, resplendent in a velvet waistcoat, and began a speech that droned on like a summer wasp. He recounted the Hinckliffe family's virtues, the pie's ingredients, and his own role in its creation, oblivious to the crowd's growing restlessness. The villagers, hungry and cold, had waited hours, their patience worn thin by the scent of pastry and meat wafting from the unguarded pie. A murmur became a roar. A group of mill workers, emboldened by ale, began chanting, "Cut the pie! Cut the pie!" when Jeremiah ignored them, waving his arms for silence. A few young lads, led by Tom Sykes, a wiry apprentice with a grudge against pompous speeches, took matters into their own hands. Armed with hatchets, they hacked at the platform's supports. The crowd roared with laughter as the wood splintered, and Jeremiah, mid-sentence, toppled backward into the pie with a spectacular splat. The crust shattered, mutton and gravy spilling across the green like a culinary landslide. Chaos erupted. The crowd surged forward, some scooping up handfuls of pie, others shoving to reach the cart. The horses, spooked by the noise, bolted, and the cart tipped, spilling what remained of the pie into the mud. Fists flew, children wailed, and Jeremiah, coated in gravy, was dragged to safety by his wife Martha, who boxed his ears for his folly. The riot pie, as it came to be known, was a cautionary tale, whispered in Denby Dale for generations. Yet, even in its failure, it fed the village, for the scavenged scraps sustained many through a lean spring. Time healed the wounds of 1846, and Denby Dale's pie-making spirit endured. The tradition lay dormant for decades, revived only in 1964, when the village sought to celebrate an extraordinary year, the births of 4 royal children, including Prince Edward, in a single calendar. The world had changed. Cars now rumbled along High Street, and the mills had quieted, but the village's pride burned as brightly as ever. The 1964 pie was a modern marvel, its tin forged in a Sheffield foundry, its filling a blend of beef, pork, and vegetables seasoned with herb. A team of bakers, led by Elsie Hincliffe, a descendant of Jeremiah, labored for days, their work broadcast on the BBC. On a sunlit August day, the pie was paraded through Denby Dale, drawn by a tractor draped in bunting. Over 30,000 visitors descended on the village, from as far as London and Leeds, their cars clogging the narrow lanes. The pie, sliced by Elsie with a sabre lent by a local regiment, was a triumph, its flavor rich and its portions generous. Families picnicked on the green, children chased each other through the crowd, and a brass band played God Save the Queen. For a day, Denby Dale was the heart of Yorkshire, its pie a symbol of unity in a world growing ever more divided. Today, the giant pie tin from 1964 rests in the Denby Dale Pie Hall, a modest museum where visitors marvel at its size and chuckle over tales of Jeremiah's plunge. The village still dreams of its next great pie, perhaps to mark a coronation or a global triumph. In Denby Dale, the ovens are always ready, the recipes handed down like heirlooms, and the spirit of the pie, bold, communal, and just a touch absurd, lives on, as enduring as the hills that cradled the village. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, follow, subscribe, and comment below.